Well, we're past the midway point of January 2026, which means Nintendo Direct rumors are going to be ramping up. And today we have our very first Nintendo Direct rumor for 2026 that is actually coming from a tangible place, a person who has proven to be correct on pretty much everything they've put out there over the last year or two, and is also a friend of the channel. So someone that I'm also willing to personally vouch for. So, while it is a rumor today in terms of dealing with the actual Nintendo Direct stuff, I just wanted to note that one of the huge reasons to cover this today isn't just to give us something to talk about. No, actually, it's because there's a high chance this rumor is probably true, and it gives us a launch pad for discussions on the Nintendo Direct, because it's not just simply that a Nintendo Direct is happening. We all knew one was going to happen eventually, most of us figuring February, but it's what will be featured in the Direct that is added to this rumor that I find to be really interesting. Now, before we dive in, I want to remind you we are giving away 3 copies of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. You can enter through the link down in the pinned comment or the description. We're also on our road to 200,000 subscribers. It all gets started by getting to our next 1,000. We'd like to celebrate every 1,000. We're on our way to 162,000. So hopefully you guys continue to subscribe if you're enjoying the content and want to stay up to date on Nintendo. Now, before we get to the Nintendo Direct stuff, which is the crux of this video, I want to make sure we go over a few more third-party game stories for Switch 2, because third parties might be a theme for this Direct. So the first thing we got here is a new listing showing Borderlands 4 here at a retailer going on pre-order and being available on February 27th, 2026. That is notably Pokemon Day this year, but is also a typical release day for Nintendo first-party games. Whether or not that's a release day for this game, we don't know, but Borderlands 4 was supposed to come out last year. It's going to come out at some point this year. February is just as likely as any other time. Same with Elden Ring is going to randomly pop up at some point as well. So I feel like, hey, we know the game's coming. We know that there's probably going to be some announcements about it. Maybe it happens at a Direct. We'll see. But that's not the only third-party news we have, because former Nintendo of America president who just retired from Nintendo literally on the 31st of 2025, so just a few weeks ago, Doug Bowser has actually joined the board of directors at Hasbro, and that has a lot of us wondering, could this lead to a resolution of getting Baldur's Gate 3 to Nintendo Switch 2? We're over here on Video Game Chronicles as Doug Bowser joins Hasbro's board, fresh from retiring from Nintendo. So it says Hasbro is the American entertainment and holding company behind Wizards of the Coast, Transformers, Monopoly, Nerf, Peppa Pig, and countless other household names in toys and gaming. Bowser joins the Hasbro board after having retired from Nintendo position just weeks ago. The exec spent 6 years as Nintendo of America's boss, overseeing the launch of Nintendo Switch 2 and the company's significant expansion in licensed merchandise. Bowser's role at Nintendo was replaced by Devin Pritchard, who has long-serving marketing experience, basically, who joined Nintendo 19 years ago. All right, so Doug joins Hasbro's board alongside Carla Vernon, who has served as the CEO of the Honest Company since January 2023. Says, we are delighted to have Doug and Carla join our seasoned and dynamic board of directors, said Rich Stoddart, chair of Hasbro's board. Doug and Carla bring extensive leadership experience across consumer brands and franchise management. Their expertise and guidance will be invaluable as Hasbro continues to execute its long-term innovation and growth strategies. Hasbro CEO Chris Crox added that Doug and Carla bring deep expertise in building iconic brands, creating meaningful consumer experiences, and driving innovation and transformation across their respective industries. Their leadership will be invaluable as we continue to play our role in playing to win strategy and deliver extraordinary play experiences to fans around the world. Now, look, my take here is the only thing that matters to me is Doug Bowser can maybe open their eyes to Nintendo and maybe bridge that gap that currently exists between getting something like Baldur's Gate 3 on Nintendo Switch 2 by convincing Hasbro of, hey, for all of the issues you might have with Larian Studios, you're just leaving money on the table, not bringing this over to Switch 2. Just let them do it. Open that negotiation one last time. This is a thing where I don't know that any of this is going to happen. And some people are reacting to this a little bit negatively because, well, let's just be frank. They think that Doug Bowser was just using Nintendo as a stepping stone. Now, I don't know if the gig at Hasbro is better paying or or more whatever that beats the hell out of me. I'm not here to get into the particulars of Doug Bowser and his personal life and his job choices. I think that's silly and really difficult to speculate on because it's none of our business. But I will just note that, hey, someone there with Nintendo experience could definitely open up Hasbro IP to possibly working more with Nintendo because they have a literal Nintendo expert they can now refer to. So we'll see if anything ever manifests out of it. Again, my hope is that Doug can convince them to allow Baldur's Gate 3 to be on Switch 2. Anyways, that gets us past the third-party news. We can probably find some more stories, but honestly, the crux of this video is about a Nintendo Direct. It's why you clicked. It's why you jumped to this timestamp. So let's get into the Nintendo Direct goodness. Now, where are we getting our Nintendo Direct rumor from? Well, it's coming from friend of the channel, frequenter of the Nintendo by podcast, Nintendo Talk. Nintendo Talk has been right about a bunch of stuff actually over the last couple of years. Sources telling them when directs are going to be and what's going to be in directs and all this stuff. And every single time he comes forward, it just keeps being right. So he's got a really, really good track record. And he doesn't really do this to like get attention on his YouTube channel. So some people might, save some of these takes and be like, hey, I'm going to reveal in a video. So everyone clicks on the video, it sources the video. He just puts it right on X. And because he does that, it means that he doesn't gain like a massive benefit from doing it this way, but it also means that he's not doing it for money. He's putting it out there because it's what he heard. He's excited. He wants people to be excited with him, obviously getting permission to talk about it. So what is he saying about the next Nintendo Direct? Well, that's where things get interesting. So it says, source, and he quotes them, expect a Nintendo Direct in February with some anniversary announcements in the show. And then he goes on to note some notable anniversaries this year have Metroid, Legend of Zelda, Mario was technically last year, but they're still running it at least through the movie this year. Pokemon's 30th, Animal Crossing, GameCube, plus many more third-party franchises. Now, of what he's listed there, I don't think they're going to really do much for Animal Crossing. Maybe they'll have an update in the game or something, but nothing like, not like some big fanfare. And GameCube, they already added an NSO. I don't think they're going to do much more than that. Mario, I believe, hey, what they said last year is it. That's their celebrations. And then Metroid, unfortunately, never seems to get the kind of treatment. Leaves us with Zelda and Pokemon. And one thing we do know is that Pokemon Day on February 27th is already being marketed for a 30th anniversary celebration for the franchise. So Pokemon's already planning a day to do that. So I just don't think Pokemon is going to be the one that's featured in the Nintendo Direct. I think they'll save all of that for a Pokemon Presents likely happening on February 27th. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with Zelda. I think you guys can do the math there. Nintendo usually does something for Zelda every 5 years. At least they have since like the 25th anniversary at least. And obviously we speculated for a long time about a potential Ocarina of Time remake. And I do think that's still on the table. That could literally be announced and even come out this year. We just had the Lego set go up for pre-order that I got my pre-order in on. Obviously we had the Great Deku Tree last year where it was one of the options for that Great Deku Tree was Ocarina of Time. We've had rumors from Nash Weedle and others that an Ocarina of Time remake is coming, but all the rumors around Ocarina of Time remake don't have it coming out this year and really 2027 at the earliest, but that doesn't mean it can't be announced this year. It also doesn't mean the rumors aren't 100% accurate and it does come out this year. That's a possibility, but I do think Nintendo's going to do something. Nash Weedle said 4 different things. Well, if we count the Lego set as one, that leaves 3 more things that could happen. And I don't know what those things are if Nash Weedle is even correct, but they're going to do something. They were always going to do something because the 40th is just another big celebration year. And we're obviously in the launch year, second year. Well, we're still within the first year anyways of Switch 2. And they're going to want to promote and push merch and all that they can. They have the Zelda movie coming next year. Makes a ton of sense to want to push a bunch of Zelda, especially in the second half of 2026. So what could they be talking about in February? Well, February is actually the 40th anniversary of Zelda. It's actually February 21st. And when I glance at the calendar here, you'll find that February 21st lands on a Saturday. So they are highly likely not going to do something on that Saturday, but they could do something that week. And that week is the week before the Pokemon Day stuff. So it makes a lot of sense to maybe do it that week. And it's the 40th anniversary week. Now, what can we expect? Well, I would like to see them bring a concert series back. Let's start with that. You guys remember the Symphony series that toured the whole world for like 5 years? I'd like to see them do that again. I never got to go to the original one. Obviously, we have new games that have released since then, and not just, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Echoes of Wisdom as well. Link's Awakening obviously got remade, so I'm just saying there's more material to draw from. I think that it would be really cool to have another concert series, another Symphony of the Goddess situation would be great. But setting aside that, and obviously the eventual probably reveal of the Zelda movie trailer later this year, and the Lego set that we already know about, I do think something game related is going to happen. Now, Ocarina of Time has been the popular thing around the block to keep bringing up and keep talking about, and I do think that that has a lot of evidence, and most of the evidence that I think, you can just ignore everything other than Aonuma himself. AJ Aonuma has come out and stated many times that he does drop hints for future games before they're revealed, and he has dropped some pretty big hints for Ocarina of Time on multiple occasions. So definitely feels like something that's coming. Whether or not that's the next thing, that's really the big question, because what else could be on the table? Well, there is a couple of games that we've been wanting since the 30th anniversary, since like a decade ago. But I guess if you want to argue, at least since, the 35th anniversary, The Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. HD, 4K, whatever they want to do with it. Those games that were remastered have been stuck on the Wii U this entire time. And while plenty of people emulate and do whatever, it's just not the same as Nintendo natively doing it. I'll give you an example. There's tons of mods and lots of things to make Tears of the Kingdom on Switch into 4K and do 120 FPS and all that. And then you have Nintendo's official Switch 2 edition, which doesn't do 4K, but hits like 1440p and 60 FPS. And it just feels different. It feels smooth. It's not modified. It's just, here's the game running better. And so I would like to see those games come back. And I think if we're not getting Ocarina of Time this year, which would be a bummer, then we got to get one, if not both of those games this year. A combo pack would be ideal, especially if you're planning to charge $70. Nintendo, a combo pack is the way to go. But I know they tend to release each game individually. At least that's what they've always done. They don't really combo pack Zelda games together. Typically, I know, Four Swords and Link to the Past. Yeah, I know. Okay, there's exceptions to the rules. But yeah, I kind of feel like that they either release them individually and spread them out throughout the year, or they release them as a package deal. Either way, that is a possibility as well. Now, other things could be happening, other merchandise things. Obviously, we could be talking about revealing an expansion at the theme parks to a Zelda section, which is what many people think is next anyways. After Donkey Kong, they think the next section is going to be Zelda. Obviously, at some of the parks, including the one down in Florida, at the gift shop area, they already have a bunch of Zelda stained glass that we've looked at, and we know Aonuma was out there while building plans were going on, so it is possible that we're talking about Zelda being at these parks. But honestly, folks, anything's on the table. I as an example, I'm just going to throw this out there, and this wouldn't be related to coming out this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they tease the next big 3D Zelda game. And I'm talking about the one for Switch 2 that I don't expect till 2028 or beyond. And that's because they do like to tease Zelda games, brand new ones, the big 3D ones. They do like to give us, 2 to 3 year heads up that those games are coming, and they do it by showing the game off. And I think Switch 2 could use a moment where something gets shown off that shows definitively this is why Switch 2 is here. This is what we couldn't do with Switch 1. And I don't know that Nintendo themselves, I think third parties have done it, but I don't think Nintendo themselves has released a game yet that proves, hey, we absolutely needed the new hardware to make our games possible. Now, I think from a technical perspective, that's already been proven. I think how the voxel system works in Donkey Kong Bonanza is a direct correlation to, yeah, we tried this on Switch 1. It didn't work well. We saw it in the interviews. It actually really wasn't possible in the way they wanted to do it until Switch 2. So, yes, I think from a pure technical perspective, we could point to that game as being like, well, that game you couldn't do on Switch 1. Fine, but from a visual perspective, that's not the way it feels to many gamers. And something like a brand new 3D Zelda game or a brand new Monolith Soft game, something from Nintendo that shows some graphic prowess, which unfortunately is how things seem to get measured these days, would go a long way to easing people's minds, not just on the power of the platform, but the future of the platform and what Nintendo has in store. Because yeah, a lot of Nintendo's games are going to look gorgeous on a thing. Like a new Luigi's Mansion game is going to look absolutely gorgeous, but so did Luigi's Mansion 3. Is just higher resolution going to be enough to make people get wowed? I don't know about that, but there are certain games Nintendo has, like Zelda that could really benefit from more power. And that's why getting that game even teased this year, even if we never see it again for like 2 or 3 years, I think would be a big boost. And doing it as a little celebration of the 40th, doing it to get people hyped for the Zelda movie next year, I think all of this could tie together quite nicely. But those are just my thoughts, and I obviously want to know what your thoughts are down below. Let's say everything I said doesn't happen and they do something else for the 40th anniversary. What do you think that something else would be, and why? Very curious for alternatives to the things I've been rolling around in my mind now for really the last year, thinking about the 40th anniversary. These were kind of where my mind was going, was Ocarina of Time Remake, Wind Waker Twilight Princess, HD, 4K, whatever they decided to do with it, teasing the new 3D Zelda game, and obviously giving us like a movie trailer at some point for the Zelda movie. I've been thinking this stuff for a while. These aren't new thoughts. I wouldn't mind if someone has some fresh ideas. That's why I kind of threw out the Symphony of the Goddess concert coming back, because to me, that was just really, really cool. And a lot of people missed out the first time around. It'd be really cool if they did it again, but we'll see. Now, folks, I'm going to head out here. I got a lot going on, and I actually got that thing that most people get excited about sometimes, you know, your tax documents. But when you run a business, sometimes it's the most stressful time, but I'll get my taxes sorted out. Everything's going to be good. You guys have a lovely rest of your day. I should be live tonight around 8 or 9 p.m. Central Time. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day and evening. And if I don't catch you tonight, I will at least catch you in our next video and the Nintendo Byte podcast, both of which will be happening tomorrow. I also want to let you guys know tomorrow is kind of a cool episode. We just came off Kiwi Talks and Favlam last week, our first episode having guests in 2026. Our second episode just levels up even more. Just Restart's coming on. Really happy to have him back. Huge friend of the channel and just a personal friend of my own. But that's not all, because Roger's base, baby. That's right. Mr. One Piece himself is coming on the show. So it's going to be a good one. All right, guys. We'll catch you in the next video.